My name is Devjot Ghoshal,
And I'm Anand Kataka.
and we're the co founders of the 545, a single subject website on the Indian elections that we launched on February 10th, 2014.
Why was it so important to do this website? Well, the Indian election is the largest democratic exercise in history. If you look at the numbers, this was begging to be covered. We felt the coverage by Indian media outlets consisted of only talking heads. We wanted to change that. Typically, news websites in India are extremely cluttered and aren't designed for social media. We saw an opportunity. We decided that people weren't getting socially designed news around the elections. So, what did we try to do? It was based on the question what kind of stories would we share with our friends? And with that basic premise, we said that our platform had to be simple and jargon free. We then set about creating a data and visually oriented storytelling website.
The entire team of the 545 consists of 6 current Columbia Journalism School students. Indrani Basu is from New Delhi. She's a former correspondent for the Times of India, India's largest English newspaper, and currently an INLAC scholar at the J School. Eva Dikshit is from the eastern city of Patna, but she's a recent graduate of Delhi's Lady Shri Ram College. I'm Devjot. I'm from Calcutta in the East. I'm a former Southeast Asia correspondent for Business Standard and currently a Fulbright scholar at the J School.
We have Rishi Iyengar, who's from the city of Pune in the West. He recently completed his Young India Fellowship before coming to Columbia. We have Aparna Alluri, who's from the city of Hyderabad. She's been a freelancer for The Economist and The Guardian. And you have me, Anand, who used to be with Time Out magazine in Mumbai. Before that, I was a stringer between a few national papers before arriving at Columbia.
The design of the 545 is inspired by Quartz. We wanted to build a clean, simple website with a responsive layout because we knew that we would get a fair amount of traffic from mobile and tablets. And we chose a red and white design palette for a clear brand identity. And we built our entire website for about $150.
So our content is very concise. We aimed at keeping it simple and keeping it short. It starts with a weekly meeting where we decide what each of us will do, and we try to make sure each piece has a news peg. A typical story structure is with maps and graphics built on data wrapper. These aren't bells and whistles. We try to enrich our stories by using powerful visuals. We also experimented with BuzzFeed-esque listicles. This story, for example, is one of our more popular pieces, but they are far more meatier than the usual listicle. This drives traffic towards our site and brings an audience to our more serious pieces.
The pride and the joy of the 545 are essentially maps. We're going to run you through a story that we did earlier this year. We started in pretty early on in the election campaign to look for a story that we could update every week. And we decided to track the election rallies of the 3 leading contenders for Prime Minister. And this is what we came up with, the 545's election rally tracker. Later in the year, we figured that there would be 23 million first time voters in the 2014 elections, and we decided to work on a story around that. Once we had the data, we put that on a map, but we realized we also had the election rally data, so we could actually combine these two to look at which candidates were actually fighting to get these 23 million new voters to vote for them. And this map was eventually picked up by the Washington Post and got over 20,000 hits.
We've been tremendously successful so far with 150,000 page views. We have a returning audience of about nearly 30%. We've had a tremendous growth on social media with extensive followers on Twitter and Facebook, and approximately 30% of our audience accesses the website through mobile and tablet. Our website is penetrated in over 146 countries, with 58% of our audience coming from India and about 28% from the United States. Subsequently, because of our success, we've been featured in the Washington Post, like we earlier mentioned, the Wall Street Journal, Forbes India, BuzzFeed, and we were IGNet's Journalist for the month of March, as well as Media Bistro and one of India's leading television networks, NDTV. Subsequently, Devjot and I have been fortunate enough to speak about the Indian elections on the BBC.
So, what's next? We'd either like to procure funding to run the website independently as a data and politics blog, or like to nest the website within a larger news organization. And of course, we'd like to graduate at the end of this month. That's all, folks.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.